And bam, welcome back to Nando Talk. By 4 p.m. on Tuesday, the Miami Dolphins will have officially trimmed our roster to the final 53 Finns who are going to contribute to this team and make sure we have a successful one. And honestly, we're in a beautiful position because for once, the Dolphins have a talented team. For once, we're the ones who are going to have to make the tough cuts. And I love it. I wish we had 65 roster spaces. I wish we had a whole platoon of guys on the practice squad. But unfortunately, the Dolphins are going to be the ones who have to make the tough cuts. We're going to be the ones who are losing either promising rookies or veterans who can contribute or special teams standouts. We're the ones making the tough cuts. Usually the situation is reversed. Usually the Dolphins roster is just not up to par, not the most talented. And when it comes to cuts, we scour the waiver wire, the free agency, hoping that there's going to be a nice gem that we can add to our roster. And we are deciding our 53-man roster after the other teams in the NFL have already cut their players. Now, situation's reversed, and we're the ones making those cuts. We're the ones, unfortunately, losing talented players. But it's a good problem to have because that means we have so much talent on our team, it's hard to keep everyone. Now, we will break down guys who I think will get cut. Some guys I hope can make the practice squad. Some guys who, unfortunately, there's just no room. At the time of this posting, there's already been 10 to 14 players cut, including some surprises like Sony Michel and Garrett Dokes. You know, it's going to be interesting how the rest of this roster shakes down. We'll get more clarity as Tuesday progresses. But for now, bear with me on my projections. It should be a fun one. Again, it's a talented team. There's going to be some disagreement once we get past like the 45 marker. But hey, as long as we can all understand that this is a team to be proud of, a team to be excited for, what a time to be a Miami Dolphins fan. So without further ado, let's get into this roster breakdown. And we'll start on offense. Just to preface this, guys, I think we'll keep 26 offensive players, 24 defensive players, and then obviously our kicker, punter, and long snapper. So back to the offense, guys. Let's start there. On the offensive side of the ball, I think we keep 26 players. Now, since I was mentioning Garrett Dokes and Sony Michel as surprise cuts, I'll start in the running back room. I do think we're going to have to keep 4 backs. You know, we don't exactly have a clear 3-down running back, a guy who can be the workhorse for this team. So we're going to see a little bit of a committee. Think of what you saw in San Francisco. Now, I think this running back room is a lot more talented. I had originally thought we were going to keep a guy like Sony, who was going to be our short yardage back, maybe a power back, maybe Dokes. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. We're probably going to give that to our fullback, Alec Ingold. He'll get those short yards. So that's where we get 1 spot for the fullback. And then 4 spots for the running back would go to Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert. It looks like Myles Gaskin is going to make this team. He played very nice against the Eagles on Saturday. And then that 4th spot could have gone as Zaquandre White, but another surprise cut. I hope the kid makes the practice squad along with Garrett Dokes. But this 4th running back is going to be Salvon Ahmed. And hey, he's a nice sneaky guy in this outside zone. You know, he's got the speed. All these guys are fast. I mean, Raheem Mostert is one of the fastest players in the NFL. On Saturday, he was clocking the 4th and 5th fastest times, I think, on the field. 20 miles per hour, 21 miles per hour. The kid is lightning. I should say the grown man. But Chase Edmonds is another speedy guy. Myles Gaskin was showing his burst. He was running hard for his job on Saturday. And we know Salvon Ahmed's fast. Shifty enough to maybe even be a return man. So those 4 backs, those are 4 lightning guys. I thought we'd go 3 lightning, 1 little dash of thunder. But hey, it looks like we're going for speed, and I'm okay with that. Mike McDaniel's got the running back eye. I'll trust him. That's what I've been saying all offseason. Whatever cast of runners he comes up with, we're going to rock with. You saw what he did with San Francisco last year. This guy had a top 10 rushing offense, 2,400 yards, with a carousel of running backs in Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, Jeff Wilson and JaMychal Hasty were banged up all year, and he was even running with Kyle Juszczyk, their fullback, and they still had 2,400 yards. Now, granted, their offensive line is, markedly better than the Dolphins, and we have to see how our offensive line performs in regular season as well. But I definitely think there's hope that this group of runners can spark this Dolphins offense. Last year we had the 30th ranked running offense. 1,500 yards. That's ridiculous. I'm hoping with this talented group, with Mike McDaniel's vision and his scheme, we can push for 2,000 yards, crack into that top half of the NFL, and just really produce, Speaking of these runners, though, we'll have to touch on how talented these wide receivers are. It's 4 running backs, 1 fullback, and oh my. The wide receivers, 6 guys: Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, Erik Ezukanma, Cedrick Wilson. Those are for sure making the roster. Erik Ezukanma as a rookie is already balling. Seems to be like a luxury pick, but he is producing, and I love what I'm seeing from Easy E. Keep it up. We love the upside there and those talented 4 receivers. The 5th guy, I think, who at this point should probably make the roster is Trent Sherfield, San Francisco 49ers guy. He's very well known with Wes Welker and Mike McDaniel. Was actually the first guy that they brought over under this new coaching staff, and he's performed very well in training camp preseason. He knows the system, knows what he's got to do. Tough receiver, and I've liked what I see from him. As a wide receiver 5, you really can't ask for something else than a guy who knows the system inside and out and is a hard worker, great work ethic, and is going to be ready to play whenever he's asked to. He can also do a little bit of special teams, so you love to see that. I think he's a clear cut to make the team. That's 5 receivers. The 6th spot is a little trickier. I don't think, obviously, we know Preston Williams isn't going to make the team, guys. He didn't exactly play up to par on Saturday. If he had a shot, it's gone now. I think that last 6th spot is going to balance between River Cracraft and Lynn Bowden Jr. And it all depends on how our return situation is going to shake out, I think. Lynn Bowden has that versatility. He can be a wide receiver, a bit of a runner. He can do those trick gadget plays as a quarterback due to his quarterback history. He's a special gadget player, a special teams guy, and he can be very useful for that versatility. But River Cracraft, when given the opportunities, when he's been targeted, be it in camp, be it in actual games, has produced. Now, the consistency maybe isn't always there, but again, it's a guy that Wes Welker knows, and if Wes Welker is going to trust this to be a slot guy, hey, I'm all for it. I'm all down to have more weapons. Stack it up for the QB. Make sure that we don't have an issue like last year where depth seemed to be a problem. For once, we have a very talented wide receiver room. If we lose a guy like Lynn Bowden, I will be sad. If we keep him as a return man, that'd be kind of 7 receivers, and I could see that. It would depend on offensive line, or tight end, which right now I have 4 tight ends, 9 offensive linemen. If we can trim one of those rooms, then I can see 7 receivers. But until then, we just keep 6. Braylon Sanders is another phenomenal receiver who it looks like we're going to have to waive and hope he makes practice squads. He has been lighting it up in camp, so I'm not sure if he'll clear waivers, but I hope he does. And that's what I'm saying. We have the talent at receivers, a prime example where we have so much talent, we're going to lose some good players, and it's a shame. But when you already have a second-year star like Jaylen Waddle, a young ball and rookie like Erik Ezukanma, and then great veterans like Tyreek Hill and Cedrick Wilson and Sherfield, what are you supposed to do with a guy like Braylon Sanders, who's going to be your 7th, 8th receiver? It's tough, but the practice squad is probably going to be the best situation for him if he makes it there, which I hope he does, and then we'll hopefully protect him. So right there, just to recap so far, guys, we've got 4 running backs, 1 fullback. The backs are going to be Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Myles, Gaskin, Salvon, Ahmed, Alec Ingold at fullback. The receivers are going to be Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, Erik Ezukanma, Cedrick Wilson, Trent Sherfield, River Cracraft. So far, we've got 11 guys. If we're keeping up, we're good to go. We'll move on to tight end, and this is what I was touching upon earlier. I do think we're going to keep 4. Mike Gesicki, say what you want about whether he's going to be utilized or not in this offense. Big Mike is a baller. He is a weapon. 6'6", 250-pound monsters do not grow on trees every day, especially ones that run 4 or 5 40s. This man is an absolute animal. He just needs to be utilized in the right way, which is why we brought John Embry, who's a phenomenal tight ends coach. And hey, it looks like Gesicki's improved a bit of his blocking. He's been getting targeted. He's been getting used. I like what I see from Gesicki. As long as we don't trade him, he's penciled in to be our tight end 1 starter. I know that Durham Smythe is a nice blocker. He's a more well-rounded tight end, more of your traditional tight end. But big Mike Gesicki is too talented to keep off the field. He's going to find a way, and Mike McDaniel is going to make it work because this guy's an offensive genius, okay? So obviously, Mike Gesicki, Durham Smythe, top 2 tight ends. Hunter Long has shown some flashes and some potential. I'm going to keep him on the roster. We're good to go there. Tanner Connor is a nice rookie tight end who has shown promise, But I think that's a guy who will cut, and I think he can make the practice squads, which is why I think we're going to have to cut him. It's already a deep tight end room, and there just doesn't seem to be any daylight for him to shake. And it's fine. Not a knock on Tanner Connor. More of just how talented this tight end room is. Again, we're going to have to let go of some promising guys. I hope Tanner makes the practice squad, though. We'll see you there, boss man. Because our fourth tight end is going to be Cethan Carter, mainly because of his versatility. He can be kind of like a fullback as well. Think of like Charles Clay, that little H-back role, a tight end who can block. That grit is always well appreciated. But if we can use that in the event that, God forbid, Alec Ingold goes down, Cethan Carter gives us a little bit of flexibility of having a guy who can play fullback already on the roster. I'll take that, and he rounds out our tight end room. I'll take that versatility. 2 players in one. Bada bing, bada boom. Good to rock there, Then, though, we get to offensive line, where I do think we're going to keep 9 guys, at least 8, but 9 is what I'm feeling, because this offensive line is probably not set in stone. The guys who start week 1 are most likely not going to be our week 17 starters, not necessarily just because of injury, but just because this offensive line is so young as well. There's so much to shake around still. I think 9 guys is fair. We can keep Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, Michael Dieter, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson, Solomon Kinley, Liam Eichenberg. Greg Little's been playing nice, and he definitely, I think, solidified his job on Saturday against the Eagles. So Greg Little will be the 8th guy, and Robert Jones will round it up at 9. Originally on my list, I had guys like Panky, I had guys like Blaise Andres. I realized that with such a, not solidified offensive line, maybe we can't take all undrafted free agents. Those are guys who I think, especially Blaze, who has great energy. Panky's been playing nice. I hope they make the practice squad. Offensive line is always in a position of need in the NFL, though, so I'm not sure if a team will make a claim on them. I hope they last and we'll be able to develop them, though. I love Blaze's energy. Whatever it is, though, best of luck to those UDFAs who are perform very nice. In this world, Kellen Deitch also will be a cut that I think that we should very, very, very try hard to get to the practice squad, because this O-line is not done. It definitely needs a little bit more work, guys. In an ideal world, we just get the 5 best guys out there. I know there's still that talk about whether we should play Dieter at center or Connor Williams at center when he's traditionally a guard. Williams, in theory, can play nice there, but he's had some issues with snapping. Every second counts, so you want to see him clean that stuff up. But I still think if you want to have the 5 best guys out there, I've liked what I've seen from Solomon Kinley from camp. I think the best offensive line can still be Teron Armstead, Solomon Kinley, Connor Williams at center, Robert Hunt at right guard, and Austin Jackson at right tackle. The holes there would still probably be Kinley and Austin Jackson, assuming Connor Williams cleans most of his technique up at the center position. I just think that a Kinley-Connor Williams left guard center is just stronger than a Connor Williams-Michael Dieter left guard center at this point. Dieter's a fine player, and yeah, he can snap. He's a traditional center, but he just doesn't seem to have the athleticism required to fit this scheme to the best of the ability. We'll see how it rocks. There's a reason why Connor Williams is even being tested at center. So, hey, put the 5 best guys out there. I'm willing to go for it, but that's why I want to keep 9. I still think it's going to be moved around a bit as we solidify what this offensive line is, guys. So, if you've been following along so far, that's 9 offensive linemen, 4 tight ends. That gives us to 13. A fullback, that's 14. 6 receivers, there we go, 20. 4 running backs, that's 24. And we're missing the 2 QBs to make the 26 guys on offense. And I say 2 QBs. Obviously, QB1, Tua Tagovailoa, he's been playing awesome in training camp, in practices, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the joint practice, against the Eagles in the joint practice, against the Eagles on Saturday, against the Raiders. Tua has done what we've been asking him to do. He's been phenomenal. I've loved what I've seen, and I get it. It's just preseason, it's just practice, but I'm confident this is going to translate to week 1 against the Patriots. Let's smack him up. Tua is QB1. But as for who is going to be QB2, it's tough, Maybe we can keep 3 QBs. I'd rather figure out a skill position, especially considering how well Skylar Thompson has played this season. and the fact that I don't think he'll make the practice squad if we cut him. So 3 QBs is an ideal world, then we keep all our guys. I do want to keep that skill position, though, and I understand that Teddy Bridgewater is owed $6.5 million. But if he wasn't, this probably wouldn't even be a conversation. Skylar Thompson would be QB2. We'd rock Tua and Skylar, and we'd be ready to go. Teddy is a veteran. You know, he has 60. I think he has like 60-something career starts, which is pretty impressive in its own right. But Teddy doesn't bring that moxie that Skylar can bring. He doesn't bring that confidence, that energy that you kind of need in a backup quarterback sometimes. You know, like I said, I think Tua should be QB1. But think of Skylar Thompson almost like when we had Matt Moore on the team. If our QB1 did go down, Matt Moore could go in and inject some life into the offense for a second, you know, give some hope, that have that confidence, that swagger. And that's what Skylar Thompson has shown with his poise and his penchant to actually be performing so early in his career. I've loved what I've seen from him. I don't want to risk losing him. So if we can only keep 2 QBs, give me Tua, give me Skylar. We'll cut Teddy. And I get it, we'll eat up that $6.5 million. But I'll explain later why we're going to cut Teddy and not Noah Benogany. Okay, because we're not cutting both of them. So, that wraps up the offense. 26 guys. Let me know what you think about it. I'll put some timestamps so you guys can recap it if you want. But it is 2 QBs, 4 running backs, a fullback, 6 receivers, 4 tight ends, 9 offensive linemen, for a total of 26 guys. But, on defense, now, yes, 24 members of the defense. We've got the D-line, 6 guys. Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, Emmanuel Ogbah, Zach Sealer, and Trey Flowers, the veteran who just got signed. You know, this is a man with 2 Super Bowls. This is a nice veteran. I love the addition. It just strengthens our already strong pass rushing room, gives us a nice rotation, and we're good to go. But because we added that veteran presence, I'm down to go for our 6th defensive lineman as Ben Still, the undrafted free agent. I've liked what I've seen from him in camp so far. He's been performing strong in the preseason, and let's good to rock. Mr. Ben Still, I'd like to see you on the team. We got the veteran in Flowers. Let's get some flexibility with the younger guy. I know John Jenkins and Benito Jones are fine defensive linemen, but it's time for the youth in this move, in my opinion. So let's go Ben Still. Alrighty. For linebackers, it gets a little tricky in the sense that I think it's going to be 6 linebackers. I put 8 because it's 6 linebackers plus those 2 like hybrid pass rusher, linebacker, D lineman kind of guys like Melvin Ingram and Jaylen Phillips. I think they're going to be strictly pass rushers, so I kind of want to separate them. But for the purposes of this exercise, I'll put them as 8 linebackers. The 6 linebackers, not our pass rushers, I believe are going to be Jerome Baker, Channing Tindall, the rookie, has been phenomenal, lighting it up against the Eagles. He was making tackle after tackle, play after play, except for that one missed tackle that led up to a nice touchdown. He had a great night. So I love what I've been seeing from Channing Tindall. Athletic monster, 6'2", 230 pounds, 42-inch vertical. What do I else have to say? Was a great contributor for 4 years on that nasty Georgia defense. Bang, bang, bang. This guy is looking to be a home run pick in the 3rd round. Let's do it, Channing Tindall. Use your speed, your athleticism to be a nice QB spy to stop the Lamar Jacksons and Josh Allens of the world. I'm with it. But back to the task at hand. Jerome Baker, Channing Tindall, Andrew Van Ginkel, who seems to be a little banged up, but we'll see if he's on the pup, if he's going to play, whatnot. Duke Riley's had a nice camp as well. I was teasing him a bit, and then he started showing me wrong. I love what Duke's been proving me up, so there we go. The 5th guy, Cam Good. That'll be a nice one, and a Landon Roberts. You know, Landon Roberts for the veteran. Cam Good, though, might be a surprise, especially if we don't get guys like Sam McGuavon, but we already have put Darius Hodges on. Darius Hodges was waived for injury. Calvin Munson was put on IR. Sam McGuavon is nice and all, but I think Cam Good as a 7th rounder, he's earned his spot, guys. This is a guy who I think is very versatile as well, and that's going to help decide his position on this team. Number 53 has showed up and showed out in camp, and let's reward him with that roster spot, man. Out of California, this guy had 9.5 sacks, 2nd most in the Pac-12 last year. He had the 10th most sacks all time as a University of California player. This guy is a beast. Versatile, 12.5 career passes defended, 2 pick sixes, so he even has the wheels. He can get after the QB, stop the run. He can even stop the pass a bit. I like what I have in this guy. We seem to have picked up a gem in the 7th round. Honestly, this entire draft class, 3rd round in Channing Tindall, 4th round in Ezukanma, 7th round with Cam Good and Skylar Thompson. If we keep all 4 players, clap it up for Greer. What a great draft class considering you only had 4 picks and they were later picks. Bam, bam, bam. You love to see it. Alrighty. Cornerbacks. We've got 6 corners. It's going to be interesting. Troy Williams, dang shame that he got injured. I really wanted to see him make this team. Fellow Syracuse Orangemen, bam, bam, we ride for you. Best of luck in that long recovery for Trill. Hope to see you next year, man. But for this year, Xavian Howard, obviously a lock. Byron Jones, I'm thinking he's going to play week 1, then he's not going to be on the PUP. I know he got his surgery late, but I've got to believe that this is a veteran who knows his body and times it up so he can be ready for week 1. So we'll have Xavian Howard, Byron Jones, Nick Needham. Keon Crossan has been impressing in camp, and especially with the injuries, I think he's going to make the roster. Kadir Kohu, he posted a nice picture on Twitter earlier tonight, so I'm hoping he makes the team. I love that I see this undrafted free agent. It's taking the sting a little bit off of the Trill injury and knowing that we've gotten a nice young baller like Kadir. I hope he sticks around to this team. If not, practice squad for sure. And then the 6th corner, Noah Igbinoghene. Yes, Noah Igbinoghene is going to make the team, mainly because he's a first rounder. We can't afford to cut Teddy and Noah. That's 6.5 from Teddy, 5.5 million from Noah for a total of like 12, 13 million. No bueno, we cannot do that. It's not going to happen. So I think if we cut Teddy, we'll keep Noah. Sam Addison and Pat Surtain can hopefully develop him a little bit better. If those 2 guys can't do it, nobody can. So, hey, we'll rock with it. At the safety position, we get 4 guys, I think. Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, Erik Rowe, who is a nice in tight end coverage. Nice veteran there as well. And then Verone McKinley, undrafted free agent, undersized safety out of Oregon, but he played with Javon Holland in their college times. He's got the ball instincts. He's got the talent. I like what this guy does. He's aggressive. He's got the instincts. And hey, Verone McKinley, he made some plays in camp. I'd like to see him continue to develop his talent with Javon Holland. They've got that chem already. And hey, we can have a nice young budding safety core in Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, and McKinley. Bada bam. I love what I see there. All in all, it's a nice defense. Some people have more defenders than offense. I went for 26 on offense, 24 on defense, but it could easily switch to the other way to 24, 26. But as of now, this is how I've got it looking so far. It's a pretty solid offense and a beautiful defense. So talented top to bottom. Our special teamers wrap it up as kicker Jason Sanders, punter Thomas Morstead, and long snapper Blake Ferguson for a very talented 53-man roster. There are some tough cuts, Lynn Bowden Jr., so Quandre White, who actually got cut, it's a shame. I think this is really how the team is going to shake down for the most part. I want to see whether we keep 9 offensive linemen, 4 tight ends, 6 receivers. If those positions change a bit, we can see, maybe a little bit of these tough cuts actually stay on the roster. We can see some more surprise cuts. It's all going to depend on what our individual coaching staff determines to be a good core. But I actually trust our coaching staff for once, so I'll take it. Whatever these guys want to rock, I'm for it. I'm with it. Let them do it. Let them rock and go for it. This is a talented 53-man roster. It's going to be a talented practice squad if we get our guys and they make it through waivers. So fingers crossed. Hopefully you make the smart decisions. By 4 p.m. we'll have our finalized 53 and we'll be able to compare the list. I'll be copy and pasting this in the description if you do want to make fun of me for how wrong I am. I think I'm going to be pretty close to right though. For the most part, it's looking good. Let me know what you guys think though, what the roster is going to shake down. Let me know what you guys are surprised at, what you react at, if I'm a total clown, if I've got it spot on. It's going to be a fun one. I'll obviously do a reaction video as well to the 53-man tomorrow, but no matter what, guys, trust our coaching staff, trust the guys. We've got some talent up there, some smart cookies, And if they can't think they can develop a player, if they don't have a use for him, so be it. Let's move on from them. Focus on the guys we can develop and the guys we can work with. Because I'm excited for this 53 guys that we're going to end up with. Time to just trust the process, guys. Thank you for tuning in to Nando Talk. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll post some links to some other videos. And as always, thank you for enjoying, and fins up.